Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap. My name is Anthony Gentry, and joining me today is...
Austin Jameson, hello.
Hello, how are you
Yeah.
doing today?
I'm doing pretty okay. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this episode.
Oh yeah, we have a lot to talk about. We say
Yes.
that every week,
Yes.
but today our main feature is Moon Knight.
Yeah, our first television series that we're doing
like
on here.
first official,
Yeah.
I guess. We are going to go episode by episode.
Mhm.
Spoilers are ahead,
Yes.
but if you haven't seen the newest episode yet, don't worry. We're not going to get to it until we get to that episode towards the end.
Yes.
Before we get into that, we have a few trailers to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to have to speed run these.
Yeah. The first trailer is the Weird Al Yankovic movie. I think it's just
Yeah.
called Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
I think so.
Daniel Radcliffe is in this. I don't think it's going to theaters.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's a Roku exclusive.
Yeah. What did you think of this?
Weird. I think it's I think it's going to land. I don't know if anybody's going to see it. That's the sad part, is because it's a Roku exclusive.
Yeah, because I don't know if I can even see it because I don't
Exactly.
have Roku.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it would be good. I know Weird Al is working on it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
like,
And that can be a good thing or a bad thing with biopics.
but I think ultimately it'll probably still be good, if not enjoyable, because it's Weird Al. I don't know how I feel about Daniel Radcliffe's American accent.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever done an American accent, and he said so few words in this, so it's hard to tell.
We just kind of need more, but at the same time, I don't know who's actually going to be watching this.
Yeah. It looks interesting though.
Yeah, like, it's Weird Al. What else do you want?
Yeah. Weird Al co-wrote the movie too.
Cool.
Yeah. This is coming from Eric Appel, who it looks like has really directed a lot of TV shows. So it looks like this might be his first movie. Looks interesting. That's really all. No release date yet. So
it's only a 1 minute long trailer, so we don't really even.
Yeah, we
have
only
that
really
much to
got
say.
concert appearances.
Yeah.
That's it. Our next trailer is the new movie from Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
Don't worry, darling.
This looks really, really good.
This looks so interesting.
I'm looking forward to this. This
Yeah.
is like, not often do I like see a trailer and then save the link and send it to somebody else, but I immediately sent this to my girlfriend. I thought she would love it.
And you haven't watched Booksmart.
I've not.
Right? This,
unfortunately.
I thought this would be similar a little bit to Booksmart, and it might be maybe a comedy, but leaning on the drama. Booksmart, for one, is amazing. It's really good. But this really delves into like the psychological horror.
Yeah.
And I am really excited to see where this goes, and just how it happens.
I agree. I think the cast looks pretty good. I don't know how I feel about Harry Styles being on the screen. I will not be attending the opening night because I know a certain celebrity's fans will be attending that night.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to suck.
I watched Eternals.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was absolutely awful. And so I will be trying to find
I
the
don't blame you.
emptiest theater I can.
This is coming September 23rd, so we might review this one.
Yeah, we probably will. I'm really excited
definitely.
for this.
So that was Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah.
Looks great. Can't wait. Our last trailer.
Yes.
And Austin, before I say this, May the 4th be with you.
True. We are filming this on May the 4th.
Yes.
2022.
And to celebrate May the 4th, we got an Obi-Wan trailer.
We sure did. We have the same month. We are weeks away from the release, and I'm very
A
excited.
little over 3 weeks. I'm
we
going to
got-
be back from a wisdom tooth surgery, so I'm just going to be
nice.
hopped up on meds, watching Obi-Wan, living the dream.
We do a live episode of Obi-Wan, and it's just you like completely ineligible.
Yeah, just like blacked out for most of it.
That'd be
Like,
nice.
what happened?
This trailer, I mean, it's Obi-Wan. Looks great.
Yeah.
I'm
wonder how they're going to do Darth Vader.
excited for it.
'Cause-
I imagine we'll get a mix of bro.
Yeah.
If we get live action Clone Wars flashbacks,
Oh, yeah.
I'll cry.
Well, I wonder, because isn't in the episode 4, isn't that the first time they've seen each other since he became Darth Vader?
Yes.
Or
Ish.
gone to suit?
I I don't know how they're gonna act that because. Or like go around that. That's probably the most interesting part.
Yeah. Well,
because
Ewan McGregor said he filmed a scene with Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Well,
it's possible that he could see him from a distance or something like that. Because like they're very very careful about this. In the Clone Wars or in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin meets General Grievous for the first time, and it's like you're taller than I expected, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Throughout all of the Clone Wars. They never met. They were very particular about having General Grievous exit through one door and Anakin then come and chasing after him.
Yeah.
They never meet until that moment. So I think they'll be honorable to whatever actually happens. I don't see them.
Yeah.
Especially, I imagine that Dave Filoni is behind this project.
He might be. I know Deborah Chow is directing it, who directed some episodes of The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. I can't immediately find it, but there's no way he's not going to have a hand in it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially we got the Rebels Inquisitors coming back. We got, like, just so much stuff to look forward to. I think it's going to be a really good time. I can't wait to see Ewan McGregor on the screen again. I think it's just going to be a passion project. And
for sure. He's already, like, begging Disney to come back again. I don't see Dave Filoni in the producers or writers, so he might not be attached to this. But like
that's hard to.
I think he's like one of the heads at Lucasfilm, so of course he probably did something with this show. But who knows?
What the heck? I don't know. That's interesting though.
It comes out May 27th.
Yes.
Any other thoughts?
I'm just really, really excited.
Yeah,
I think
it's gonna be good.
Be a really great time.
All right. This is the fastest we've ever gone.
Yeah. And watch this. We're going to get through the whole Moon Knight review, and it's going to be like 30 minutes left. So that Obi-Wan
we can do a little like summer movie preview.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay. So Moon Knight.
Yes.
Starring Oscar Isaac in dual roles, Steven and Mark. It was Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. Yes. And Ethan Hawke.
Yes.
As Arthur Harrow.
Mm-hmm.
What were your general thoughts on this?
Let's see. This is our 5th Marvel Disney Plus entry.
I believe so.
We had is it 5th or 6th?
So there's WandaVision,
WandaVision, Falcon, Loki, Hawkeye, What If,
and this.
Now this.
So it's the 6th.
Of everything, I would say. Let me make this decision like right now.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite show.
I agree
favorite
with you.
Series.
This is my favorite Marvel show.
Very close with Hawkeye.
Okay.
This, there's so many things to say and so many things we're going to get into. But I think the production of this series was so like detail oriented from the start, and just like every single aspect of Moon Knight was so incredibly important to the final product, and everyone carried their weight.
Yes. One of my things, like my second favorite Marvel show would probably be Loki.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that show, it feels like there's some like tonal inconsistencies, or some things maybe don't fully fit as they should in the show, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
But with this, it feels like everything was so well thought out. I do have some problems here and there.
Yeah.
But everything was so planned and so well thought out, and the acting, especially from I'm just blanking. Oscar Isaac, yes. Is so good when he switches back and forth from these characters.
Yeah.
I really want another season. I'm not sure if we're gonna get it.
There's no way there's no way.
Well, here's the thing.
I know what you said about the limited series.
Yes.
I think I don't take that as a fact.
Well, I looked. American Horror Story always submits for limited series, and they always get nominated. So so that for one, they have so many seasons. But also, Marvel tweeted out like the trailer for the finale beforehand, and they said series finale, but then immediately changed it to season.
Yeah.
So
there's no way. There's
really
no
hope
way we see the end. This is like the amount of depth in this, I'm sure this is a sentiment shared by many, like, let alone, like, those who look down upon the Marvel movies, is how just repetitive every story is and how predictable each beat is. And I would argue Moon Knight's story is predictable to a certainty, but, like, it's had so much more variety to it, and I think that by taking this approach, and we'll get into this whenever we talk about the first episode.
Yeah.
Where
we can go into that right now, too.
Well, okay. Well, a hero, the way they're telling Moon Knight's story in this is that Moon Knight, as a hero, already exists.
Yeah. And Moon Knight is barely in this show.
Yes.
But I didn't miss him. Because we were getting so much with Steven and Mark and, like, the dynamics between them, and then Steven and Layla, and Mark and Layla. Mm-hmm. And it was just so good throughout that every time Moon Knight, like, popped in, it felt like a treat more than, like, okay, finally we're getting what the show has promised us.
I agree. I think that this show, like, did a really good job of defining itself as, like, it's a, like, detailed analysis of Steven and Mark instead of, like, just another superhero, like, flick kind of deal. But the first episode, we don't know about Mark. We only know about Steven Grant.
I have notes for step by step of what happens.
Go for it.
So we start off with Steven Grant. Mm-hmm. He is just a humble gift shop worker going through his life. He wakes up with a chain around his bed on his leg, sand around. He's going to work. People are calling him all these different names. Yeah. And he has a date with the girl that he does not even remember asking out. Mm-hmm. Do you want to stop there or keep going?
We can stop there for now. I feel like just generally, that's kind of the pace they set at the beginning is like, I don't know the best way to describe it.
It's more like, let's get to know Steven and then build up to the superhero-y aspects.
Yes.
But I still love how it starts out so normal, but they give you so many hints that things aren't what they seem. Mm-hmm. Like with the workers calling him by a different name, having a date, especially the chain around his leg.
Yeah.
They give you a lot of hints.
Yes. This is like a really, really well done job of visual storytelling, along with like even like expository writing, which this does have a lot of, but it's because of the dynamic of having the main character be two characters.
Yes.
To complement what I was saying earlier, the way they tell this is like no origin story that we've seen in the MCU at least. Is where Moon Knight already exists as Mark Spector. Steven Grant is unaware of him. Yes. And so for the first like one or two episodes, we are going through Steven's perspective of learning who Mark is for the first time.
And that really comes through one night, Steven goes to bed, wakes up, he's in a whole different country.
Yes.
And he's hearing this voice inside of his head. Mm-hmm. And he goes through and he finds Arthur Harrow and his cult.
Yes.
And I think it was at this moment where I had a theory that started coming through.
Okay.
And that was, this is set in another universe.
Right.
Especially because where they filmed at that museum, it's also where they filmed stuff for the Eternals. So it's, I think it's like different locations like in the film, but they filmed at the same place. Gotcha. So it's in the same general area. Uh-huh. And we have no references to the MCU up to this point. And
that's not quite true.
Yeah.
There's two.
Okay.
They're from later episodes. Neither of them are from 6. But there's one whenever Steven or Mr. Knight comes out for the first time. Again, spoilers for 1 through 5 off the bat.
Okay. I thought we were going to do spoilers like for each episode.
Well,
we can do
just
that.
For context, I think 1 for 5 works for now. 6
fine.
We won't touch until the end. So people who haven't watched it this morning or whenever, well, I guess whenever this comes out, aren't getting immediately attacked by spoilers. But 1 through 5, there is neither So one of them is from episode 5, but the
that's
first one,
the reference to the ancestral plane.
yes, which is Black Panther.
Yeah.
So and it's not necessarily MCU, but it's acknowledging that other like Marvel assets exist in this dimension or this reality. There's also, whenever Mr. Knight is fighting one of the Egyptian beasts that Horus sends after him, he gets smashed into a bus, and on that bus is the global like relief whatever. It's the government body from Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay, so my theory, it's just been disproven.
I don't know if it, I mean, there's still a possibility. Heck, there's like we can still play the Everything Everywhere like game, and it still exists.
I mean,
but
I
it's
was
a
just
similar
thinking,
universe
because of how like soon Doctor Strange is. Be sure to check out our review next week.
Yes.
That they would set him up and then have him come in for Doctor Strange, but maybe that won't happen. Mm-hmm. Especially with the GRE. I think it's GRE. I don't know.
It is. It's the GRC.
C.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Expand this.
So yeah, while he's in this other country, there's a village. Hero sees Steven and says, "Hey, give me that scarab." And Steven's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yes.
And then blacks out. Everyone's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone.
Instant shock value.
And then a chase happens, and every time there's action, Steven blacks out, and we skip ahead to when he comes to. And I love that.
Yeah.
How, like with horror movies, it's scarier when they don't show you what happens, because then your imagination just goes wild.
Right.
And it works here too. When you don't see what Steven or Mark or maybe someone else did. And that just makes it so much more mysterious, so much more threatening to see just blood on his hands and everyone dead and think, what just happened and how did this happen?
Yes. I think that was one of the most interesting elements is them, like, especially for the first 2 episodes, it's primarily told through like Steven's perspective. And it's not till much later that we finally get to see Mark in the body.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's the end of episode 2 whenever he smashes the mirror and all that. It's like, that's what it feels like. Also, I looked it up. It's the global repatriation. It's the global repatriation. It's the GRC.
GRC.
But yeah, they exist in it, and it's
okay.
However, I will say on that real quick before we get back to our other note is that I liked how little MCU this is.
Yeah.
Like,
I really
related to.
Well, I mean, I like that, but there's also some things where it's like, okay, how is no one coming to try and stop this? I guess we are doing 1 through 5 spoilers. When Khonshu changes the entire night sky.
What about it? What about it?
Don't you think like even Ant-Man would be like, hey,
I mean,
what's up with that?
We've seen since the Eternals.
Yeah.
Have we had anything since the Eternals? What's the
we got
MCU
Spider-Man.
timeline? Yeah, Spider-Man happened. No mention of a giant celestial popping out of the side of the planet, like at all that we've seen.
And we got Hawkeye.
And Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Nothing about that.
That's fair. So yeah,
I wouldn't worry too much about, because also that's just like kind of how you have to imagine it.
I guess so.
One of a good example as well is the Spider-Man PS4 game where there's even an Avengers Tower, but as soon as a plague and villains take over the city, they're still nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, they're on vacation.
Yeah, it just kind of has to be. It has to be convenient for storytelling.
So Steven escapes and he goes back home, tries to go on his date. No one shows up.
Yes.
He calls. He's like, hey, like, what's going on? Are we going to have a date? And she says, Steven, it's been 3 days.
Yeah.
Don't call me ever again. And so us as viewers like, what? It's been 3 entire days? Steven goes back to his home. He's so sad. Calls his mom again. Be like, hey, I'm sad. And then he's...
I remember. That's how it went. Yeah.
And then he looks at his goldfish and he's like, hey, you used to have 1 fin and now you have 2. What's going on? And he starts looking around the rest of his apartment. And he keeps finding all of these things that he did not know was there before, including a cell phone. Calls it. Someone answers. Calls him Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Let's see. Goes to a museum. Harrow's there. Harrow does a scale thing where he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna judge you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good or bad? It looks like you're gonna be bad, even though you haven't done the bad stuff yet.
Yeah.
And you're dead." So he does that to Steven, but the scales go crazy.
Yeah.
There's chaos in you. And then he gets chased by a monster. And then we finally get Mark.
Yes. To note on that, I think I want to talk about Harrow real quick.
Oh, yeah. He's such a good villain.
He is awesome.
I have in my notes, in episode 2, there's such a good philosophical conversation between him and Steven.
Mm-hmm. I think I know what you're talking about as well.
At the cult meeting.
Yeah. As we've said before, and everybody pretty much knows, the best villain is one who genuinely believes in his cause.
Yeah.
And never mind. We'll save that for our episode 6 discussion.
Okay.
But we'll talk about Harrow more later. He's a very well-rounded character.
I don't think I have to necessarily recap everything in these episodes.
It's okay, yeah. We should.
So we can just go on to episode 2.
Yes.
This is the episode where, like I said, there's a really good philosophical conversation. Yeah. We get a lot more Steven and Mark kind of banter. Mark finally takes control at the end, and we get our first real look at Moon Knight.
Yes,
and the first appearance of Mr. Knight.
Yeah, it's really like that was a good. One second, I'm starting on this presentation. The first time we see Moon Knight feels like the first time anybody's seen Moon Knight, even though it's not. And I feel like they did a really good job of still making it an origin story, but it's Steven and Mark learning about one another really. We also got a lot more Khonshu, who we not talked about, or who we really haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, we really haven't.
He is the sponsor. He's the, what am I going to say? Not patron god.
It's basically Venom done right.
Well, no.
Well, Venom in the sense that he has a voice in his head, kind of hates him.
I disagree.
Yeah?
I think I disagree. I think Venom... Well, Venom relies on Eddie to live.
Okay.
Unless Venom finds another host, but Venom can't really act alone. Venom needs somebody else, and to a certain point, that's true with Khonshu and finding an avatar. But Khonshu's still a god, and Khonshu can still kind of handle his own without an avatar. It's similar, I suppose.
Yeah, I just meant kind of the voice in your head, especially in the first episode, insulting Steven left and right. That's something Venom does a lot.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I really liked Khonshu in this because he becomes villainous at some points, heroic at other points.
Yeah.
You never really know what he is.
Yes.
And that's how it goes for a lot of just mythology for a lot of different cultures. These gods are sometimes good, sometimes bad. You don't really trust them,
right?
And I really liked how they did that for Khonshu.
I agree. I think I had something in my head. I don't know what's going on with me today. This is a bad day to be blanking on everything.
I've been blanking a lot too.
This is rough. Khonshu. We were talking about Khonshu, and then I was going to talk about how he's the main kind of argument or philosophical argument between the gods, and the overarching question is, do you punish somebody before they've committed a sin, even before they think about doing it or have done it, or do you punish them directly after, which is I explained that really poorly.
Yeah. But, that's the basic gist. And they go into a lot in the last episode.
They do.
And I really like the point of, you see both sides. Harrow, he wants to punish them because by the time they do a bad thing...
It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. It could be something horrible, and we could have stopped them. But Khonshu's side is we need to give them that choice to be able to do it because
Right.
we don't know for sure if they're going to do that bad thing yet.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting, and I think as far as Marvel movies go, again, or Marvel, I guess, heroes stories, it's pretty sophisticated.
It's kind of like the other two really great Marvel villains with Killmonger and Thanos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that he's definitely up there. I think my favorite, if we're talking about Marvel villains, it's definitely got to be Purple Man with is it
Zemo?
Hargraves? 1 second. Well, it's David Tennant from Jessica Jones.
Oh, does that count?
Yeah, absolutely, it counts.
Well, I mean MCU.
It counts as MCU.
Well, I mean
It's
they're
the
like
MCU.
they've been really hesitant with
It's
that.
it's on Disney Plus now. If Disney wanted to discard it, they would have bought
There's
it.
a
from
lot of
Netflix.
Marvel shows on Disney Plus that's not MCU.
Yeah, and well, those ones aren't MCU, but this one literally is. They talk
Okay.
they talk about New York, bro.
That's the only
but-
thing they talk about in those shows. Hey, remember New York? It's like 2018. It's like, what about
Deal
when
with
you
it.
all got dusted? But New York.
Well, the third season of Jessica Jones, I never finished because it was really bad.
Yeah.
But the first season, I also remember the third season Jessica Jones came out after Infinity War, so it's somewhat recent still. But the first season with David Tennant, oh my god,
I've only seen Daredevil. I need to watch the others.
watch Jessica
Yeah.
Jones.
But anyway,
His
Moon Knight.
performance is the best
Yeah.
villain ever. He is
Okay.
truly despicable. He's so good.
It's
Anyways,
just so long.
who cares? Watch it, bro. It's so good.
Okay.
You don't have to watch season 2 or 3. You don't even have to watch Iron Fist. Luke Cage.
I'm not
1
watching Iron Fist.
Luke Cage 1 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Defenders is not great, but all of Daredevil, Jessica 1, Luke Cage 1. Anyways, Moon Knight, another of the Disney TV shows now. Let's see. Do you want to go on to episode 3 now?
Sure. Yeah. So episode 3 really starts. Oh yeah, at the end of episode 2, Harrow finally gets the Scarab. So episode 3 is them either trying to get the Scarab back or just trying to get ahead of Harrow so they can find Amit's tomb.
Yes.
And that leads them through a lot of different places. We see Gaspard Ulliel playing Anton Mogart, who has sadly passed away.
Right. I remember
Yeah,
that.
I think it was either in January or February of this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a really tragic, I think, skiing accident.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, rest in peace for him. It was
Yeah.
January 19th.
Gotcha.
I think he would have played a larger role in like later seasons had that not happened.
Yeah, at the very least, he would have been recurring.
Yeah, well, because in the comics he plays a supervillain named Midnight Man.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we get and he plays this kind of rich millionaire, maybe billionaire, who has a lot of just eccentric possessions, including a tomb with the map.
Yes.
Again, action scene. I love that action scene with Steven coming out and just trying to take control. He's like, "Okay, guys, time out," and gets stabbed.
Steven,
and he's like, "Okay, take control."
It's so good. I don't understand how they make if not never right now. I want to talk about Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Who completely steals the show in any scene he's in.
And he's one actor, but he makes the character so distinct
Yes.
that when they talk to each other, it feels like a full conversation, and you feel the kind of hatred they have for each other because they each want to take control, and it's so good.
There is a scene in the very end of episode 3 where, for the first time, we don't get that like flicker effect.
Yeah.
And we just get to see the clean
towards the
transition
end.
between Mark and Steven. And I had to rewatch it like 3 times. Oscar
Yeah.
Isaac's ability to look American and then look British is insane.
Yeah, and like just how he changes his facial structure
Yeah.
to match each one, where Mark is more hardened and Steven is more like pure and like hopeful.
Yeah.
It's such a drastic difference, and he does it so well.
Excuse me. It is truly really impressive. I think his performance is one of the best we have seen in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. I think Layla is also really good. Mm-hmm. She doesn't get a lot until maybe towards the end. Yeah. But she's also very good.
Yeah.
Who is that actress? May Calamaway. I'm
not sure.
I'm pretty sure I butchered that name. I'm really sorry. But yeah, they have really good cool dynamics.
I agree. I think every single performance in this show just was great.
What did you think of the trial scene in episode 3?
Really good as well.
I thought it was good. There were some plot holes.
I didn't feel like about the actual storytelling. I thought was weak because I don't the gods being weird.
Yeah, because like they're like, Arthur, have you done this? No. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like they would.
I think you can go ahead.
I feel like they would have a little more grasp on the situation being Egyptian gods and they're in their most powerful area of the world. But
my only kind of explanation for that was maybe because Arthur Harrow was an avatar of Khonshu. Like, they know who he is. So they're like, okay, we can trust you more than this newcomer.
I don't know. I think they just hate Khonshu. I feel like they took that and they used it as a way to just write off the gods to give him permission.
Yeah.
But then again, they're gods. Gods are famously weird in mythology, and they often don't make sense and are horrible people. So,
Speaking of gods,
I just take that with a grain of salt.
At the end of this episode, the gods imprison Khonshu.
Yes.
And so Mark and Steven do not have his power anymore.
Yes.
And so going into episode 4, we finally go into Amit's tomb.
Yes.
And I'm going to say, first off, I love every single episode. This is probably my least favorite.
Okay.
But I still really enjoy it. And my reasoning for that is because it felt very different from the other episodes.
What do you mean?
I think in terms of tone, because this more took on a more kind of adventure and horror feel, and the others, they did have I don't want to say adventure, but they had the action, and it was more mystery and suspense.
Interesting.
Whereas this one, it felt a lot different, especially with the monster that I thought we were going to get a lot more of.
Yeah.
So I thought oh, okay, so the show is now going to shift, and we're going to get into the monsters, but then it was just one and done. We never see it again. And so that was, I guess, my main problem with it. But again, I still love this episode. For me, it is more of a nitpick.
Fair enough.
But that's why it would be my least favorite.
Interesting. I'm currently looking at the directors of each episode, and 1, 3, 5, and 6 are all Mohamed Diab. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And then 2 and 4 are 2 people, Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think if I could feel the similarity between 2 and 4 and see if that's a thing with the directors of of how they felt different from perhaps what Mohamed was seeing.
Oh, they also directed the last episode, or all 3 of them did.
All 3 of them did.
Yes.
Well, Wikipedia lied to me. I guess my teachers in every year of my education were right. Anyways, I don't know. I didn't have a huge problem with 4. I can definitely see what you're talking about with it kind of being a tone shift for the rest of the series. I personally really liked how it explored even further the relationship between Mark and Steven.
Yes.
I think this is one of the episodes where we get the most chunk of that relationship. And
I agree.
We also get a lot of Steven beginning to infuse himself with Mark's life, and not really vice versa, but still, it's a really interesting dynamic that I think is the staple of the show.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was this episode or episode 3, but at the beginning, we get a fight scene where once again, I think Mark blacks out, and all the men around him are dead, and we don't know who it is. Who is it? Yeah. At the end of episode 4, Mark is shot about 3 times, maybe two times.
Double tap.
Oh yeah, Layla also finds out that Mark was there at her dad's death.
Yes.
Just present, didn't do it. Mark's partner did it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then we get a weird ending with Mark in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I was happy to be there.
I loved it. It was so good.
It just felt crazy going along with the ride. I really liked. I don't know what it is. Storytelling like this, where nothing makes sense, and you're like you have to really either pay attention or force yourself to make connections. I love.
Yeah.
It's confusing. Their ability to trick you into thinking what's real and what's not real is amazing.
Yes, because so much of this, even once we talk about episode 5, it's kind of a callback to episode 1, so you never know what's real and what's not, especially at the end.
Yes.
So episode 5 is almost exclusively Mark and Steven.
Yes.
Separate. So we get them both physically. And
even then, again with Oscar Isaac, you can see the difference in how the two characters do everything.
Yeah, and they're going through the afterlife, trying to have their hearts balanced so they can carry on to the field of reeds.
Yes.
And if they don't, do you remember what the place is called?
The Duat.
The Duat. Yeah, they fall into the Duat, and they kind of get frozen.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
get
torture.
Taken away. It's like a lower level of the underworld where just those who aren't worthy of the field of reeds, which is, I guess, you could compare to like a kind of heaven, kind of like it's the good ending of life.
Yeah.
And you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and with like WandaVision, the penultimate episode goes through this character's past and what has happened to make them. And I loved how we go through Mark's memories and we finally see what has happened, why they have split personalities. I love how this whole series just like slowly reveals what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And in this episode, I mean, you think until we get to the end of episode 6, you think it peels it all back and you know everything. And basically, it's heartbreaking. So it starts out with Mark, who is just the original owner of the body. And as a kid, him and his brother go in a cave and his brother dies. And his mother blames him for it and starts to beat him.
Yeah.
And as a result of that trauma, his brother's death, Mom blames him for it, beats him. Mark creates Stephen Grant, who is in a movie to just kind of be his protector. And so then that just creates this split personality.
Yeah.
And I loved this episode so much. It's probably my favorite episode just because of how deep we go into the psychology behind Mark and Steven, what has caused it all. And I love how we keep going back to Mark being in the mental hospital, so we don't know if that's really happening or if they are really in the afterlife. Yeah. And like they play with it really well because you never know what's going on.
This is like just like I said before, this is probably the best episode in terms of pushing the suspension of disbelief for the viewer, because you don't, at this point, you don't know what's real anymore. And they're constantly slingshotting. They make you think that was he in a mental hospital this whole time? Is everything made up? Or is any of the Egyptian like stuff real? Because like you have Dr. Harrow in the mental hospital who has like Egyptian artifacts on his shelves. So it's like, okay, is this like real or is that like the source of him? It's incredibly confusing, but it's still enough sources like that you can categorize yourself and turn into like your own understanding of the material, which that's just what I really like about it. I think it does a really good job.
Oh, for sure. And Oscar Isaac's acting, once again, in this episode especially, is so good.
Yes.
Especially when he is standing outside of his mom's funeral, and he is so heartbroken that he just immediately becomes Steven, and then Steven just calls him Mom.
Yeah.
And how he does that scene is just so good.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to episode 6?
I guess so. I think that's about all we got for 5. But
yeah. Oh, yeah. And Steven falls into the duat at the end.
Yes. Rip.
By the way.
Steven's dead.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Episode 6. The finale.
Yeah. Short.
It was,
surprisingly.
Yeah. I think, like, all the finales are always, like, shorter, except for, like, WandaVision.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
But, thoughts?
There's a lot that goes on in this finale.
Yes.
Do you just want to go right into the ending? I kind of want to go into the ending.
We can.
Yeah? I am so confused.
Let's go ahead and do... Or do you want to do, like, a spoiler? 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So, he's back in the mental hospital.
Yes.
And I think about it now. I wonder if this is him taking back control.
That's the way I interpreted it.
Yeah.
The mental hospital is definitely... The way I saw it, it's a construct of his mind that, like... Where, like... It's because the duat and everything was real. That's the way I interpreted it.
Yeah.
Tararet, I don't know. The British Steven said it best.
The hippo.
Was just like that was all legit. Egyptian mythology, real. Yada yada yada. So I interpret the mental hospital as probably it could still be like a real thing that Steven or Mark remembers.
Yeah.
And it's like it's still a construct because as we see in the end credit scene, Harrow ends up in this mental hospital.
Yeah,
so
it could be a different one.
That's where I was thinking but it looks similar.
It does.
That's definitely a choice. Because one of the things they kind of tease, or I don't know if they tease. I don't know if this was just me saying it. I don't even know it's real anymore. In the first introduction of the mental hospital was that it's a place for the avatars of like Khonshu. That's what did they say that at all, or am I making this up?
I don't think they said that.
Okay.
Because Layla was there too.
Yes. My theory was that it was going to be like it's a place where my explanation for that would have been future and past avatars. She doesn't become an avatar, but at that point we didn't know that. Anyways, I figured Harrow ended up there because he was an avatar of Khonshu. But nope, just a regular old hospital. It's like real people. And then we see somebody come in, say, "I got him," and he wheels him out, puts him in the car, like this pretty nice limo. Harrow tosses him in, or he tosses Harrow in, and sitting in the car with him is Khonshu.
Yes.
And driving very dapper.
The limo.
Yes, his good friend, Jake Lockley.
Yeah.
Who has been teased this
so
entire...
much.
If we didn't get this end credit scene, I would have been so disappointed.
I know. I would have been upset.
The main thing was... Going into episode 6, like every Marvel show seems to love doing, they have so much to resolve.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. We still had...
And there's so much unresolved, too.
There still is. Absolutely. Because we went into episode 6. Steven was dead. Layla was still in that, like, cavern or tomb where Mark and Steven had died. Harrow was doing his own thing. There was the Khonshu stuck in the... Like, Layla still needed to break Khonshu's thing. There's so many elements, so many things going on that I thought they were going to have difficulty, like, completing. Like, concluding that story. And to a certain point, there's still a lot that they just didn't really address. However, Jake Lockley, they did. And I thought they weren't going to. It ended, and I was like, really? Because they make a very fine point of teasing the entire time Jake Lockley doing all these things behind the scenes, and you don't know who he is.
Yeah, no idea.
Because, like, even the first time we see the mental hospital, we find Steven in a sarcophagus, and then as Steven and Mark are kind of walking, like, creeping around, they find another room with another sarcophagus in it, and Steven's like, are we not going to open that? That's it. So they don't know about Jake Lockley.
Yeah. Oh, I also forgot to mention for episode 5.
Yeah.
So Steven falls into the duat. In episode 1, when he is giving that tour to the little girl, she asks him, how do you feel about not making it to the Field of Reeds? And he's like, what? So that's also like, is this really happening? Or
because there's also the line from Dr. Harrow where it's Steven or Mark asks him how he got there. And he's like, I took the bus. and earlier in I think episode 1 or 2, probably 2, we see Haro following Steven on a bus, but it's kind of not real, but it doesn't look real, but it kind of is. I don't know. I agree. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, we also get, after the mental hospital, they wake up in the bed, Mark and Steven, and so even that has me wondering, like, is this real? Because then we get 2 goldfish, one missing a fin and one with both fins. So that makes this so confusing.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I agree. I just like not knowing what's going on. I really like Oscar Isaac's performance. I like the writing of everything. I like the storytelling. I like the Egyptian mythology, even if it's kind of really confusing right now, and they didn't really get into it as much as I think I'd like them to. Because we now that we're full spoilers, they also teased that the Egyptian gods that still presided over the trial were corrupt, because they showed the back room where Khonshu's they have a really cool word for it, and I don't know it. His little statue, was being held, and it zoomed out to show the rest of the gods, like every other god being imprisoned in stone along with him.
Almost every god's imprisoned.
Exactly, and so then you think, okay, that's why they let Haro do his Amit thing. They are in on it, but
it looks like they're not.
Haro breaks into the pyramid, and immediately defeats the 5 avatars. That's it. That's the extent of it. So that was weird. I think I really liked. I liked Layla, her attempt at her own not split personality, but switching between Taweret or the hippo.
Oh yeah, that was good too. I loved Layla in this last episode.
Awesome.
Her outfit was so cool. And
she had a good idea for a costume.
Hippo, she's like, you're going to love my costume.
Yeah.
The wings. I love how she immediately knew. At first I had a problem with it, but then I was like, no, we've seen her fight.
Yeah.
She's good.
Mm-hmm.
I also love seeing Steven fight.
Yeah.
Too,
we actually got
and
to
how
see
they
him
kept switching back and forth. They were finally acting as one. And it's so good.
I need more.
I was thinking about the Godzilla versus Kong fight
in
the background.
True. That was fun. It was cool.
It was cool.
I liked their dialogue a lot, because that's as they weren't very subtle with their overarching arguments there, because that's the thing I was referring to earlier.
When the MCU goes philosophical, it's so good.
Yeah.
Because it's so much better to have these engaging conversations than just punching your way through. I just recently rewatched Doctor Strange, and for one, I like it a lot better than I did before. But I love how the ending isn't just Doctor Strange fighting another version of himself that happens in so many MCU movies. I don't know, Iron Man
just got out of hand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but I mean literally in Iron Man, there's another Iron Man. In Ant-Man, there's another guy who can shrink.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's not even a conversation, but I'm gonna outwit you.
Yeah.
Or outsmart you.
I agree. I want to talk about Haro in the last episode.
Yeah.
Which exemplifies his role as a villain, where he finally frees Amit, and they take out the other Egyptian gods, and he kneels down, and Amit's like, your your scales aren't balanced.
Yeah, he's ready to die.
And he's like, I am willing to submit. And he's completely down for the
he's so dedicated to this cause.
It's insane, and it's so good. I don't know.
I hate how he died at the end, because I love Ethan Hawke and I want him to be in more.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
they could get freaky with it.
Mark got resurrected twice.
Exactly.
So.
Well, taking bets right now.
Yeah.
Second season opens with Haro in a mental hospital, similar to Steven's, where he's he'll do Khonshu stuff. I don't think we've seen the end of Haro whatsoever. We might have, but I don't know. I just, oh god, I want the fact that it's over now.
They should do a show for him, like they're doing a show for Agatha.
I forgot they're doing a show for Agatha. I don't. Sure, I guess I haven't seen WandaVision in a while, but when did WandaVision come out? I feel like
January last year.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Deep in the quarantine. Good show.
Yeah, this is a really good show. How would you rate it? It's hard to rate a show.
Yeah. Overall, I would give this Probably like a 93, 92, 93. Really, just really solid. For Marvel standards, I think this is the one show that you might be able to get away with showing a non-Marvel fan.
Yeah.
Because most people that I know who don't like Marvel don't like anything with the Marvel name attached to it. And to a certain extent, I agree. I'm tired of seeing like a Stark bomb drop in every movie or
just so many references to Stark.
Yeah, just
Iron Man did this.
Fill this in with whatever, and that's the final product.
Yeah, like almost every Spider-Man villain. I'm bad because Tony Stark.
But this movie, besides the very light Easter eggs, doesn't have any attachment to the MCU. It's just a superhero show, and if the MCU didn't exist, this could stand alone. Which I think,
and even then, it also serves as a character study.
Yeah, I agree.
The superhero is so sparse in this show that it doesn't even have to be a superhero show. I mean, it is, but
to say that for 2.5 to 3 episodes, there's no Moon Knight. There's no superheroing. It's just for literally 4 or 5, and then half of 6, we don't see Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Because his power is straight up just taken away.
The only thing we see is in episode 5 when there's the flashback and him just becoming Moon Knight. Nothing else.
And I don't know. I think they went about this really well. I think it's a really well crafted show. And Falcon and Winter Soldier shouldn't get a second season. This should. That's my hot take.
This is one of my favorite projects the MCU has done by far.
Yeah.
I am right there with you. I'd probably give it a 9.3. I guess 93 out of 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just so good. Everyone should go watch this.
Is there a Rotten Tomatoes for this?
I was just about to ask you.
Yeah. Is there?
Austin, what's the Rotten Tomatoes score?
I don't know. I'm worried because the polls we've done on That's Rap
I did
NCR.
A poll halfway through at That's Rap NCR.
Yeah.
And most people weren't feeling it.
I don't know how. I think it's tragic that the reception to this show has been not overwhelmingly positive.
I think I put up another poll, but it's down now.
Okay. Did anybody respond?
I think one person did, and they said 15 out of 10, so that's good.
Fair enough. Yeah, that accounts for the rest of the bad scores. Okay. Excuse me. Critics score. I need to see what they give the other Marvel movies. They're probably high, but that's because it's Marvel and they're paid to say it's high.
They are not.
89 critic.
Okay.
Then for audience, 91. I'm just gonna shoot high for both of them. If it's low,
are you sure you don't want to change it?
You're hitting me with that teacher all right, everybody, make sure you really look over the question. I'm not gonna change it.
Okay,
I'm optimistic. Answer. I'm sure it's not gonna be
the critics score.
I'm not ready for this.
With 202 reviews.
202?
Yes. You said 89%.
Yeah.
The score is lower. It's 88%.
Really?
You were right there.
Oh my god.
That is so good.
I am a beast. Okay.
The audience score with 4,332 reviews. You said 91%. The score is 93%. Once again, right there.
Yeah. I'm built different.
What's the consensus?
Critic consensus. Moon Knight is
good.
Moon Knight is good. An interesting take on a origin story, and it's exciting, action-packed. Oscar Isaac. We really liked it. Watch it. That's it?
See, I disagree. No, it's not that. I disagree with this consensus.
Okay.
Especially the beginning. Its entertainment value may wax and wane a bit. I was entertained the entire time.
I was definitely captivated.
But Moon Knight ultimately settles into a mostly enjoyable and refreshingly weird spot in the MCU firmament. that seems a little down.
I don't know. I don't know if weird is a way I'd describe it. But
I mean, this show does get weird.
It's weird, but I think it's.
I think What If it's more weird.
I think weird has a negative connotation to it.
I guess.
I think it's strange.
Doctor Strange?
Speaking of next week,
speaking of
we
strange,
are not done with our MCU parade.
Not by a long shot.
Never will be, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. I love the MCU. What am I talking about? You can check any of our other episodes.
Have we done the DC movie?
No,
I don't think
God.
so. No.
We're not doing League of Super Pets.
Why not?
I'm okay. I'm all right.
We'll do a poll.
No, we won't. I will make new
Super
accounts
Pets?
to vote no.
Which one do you want?
Anyways, Doctor Strange comes out tomorrow. We're seeing it 2 days from filming this.
I know. I had it for tomorrow, but I have to work.
I'm terrified of spoilers.
I might be able to get it off.
Everybody be careful. Just like y'all, spoilers are everywhere. I hate the trailers, bro, that I keep seeing on TV.
I've been avoiding them all.
I will too. I walk upstairs and my mom's watching some soap opera, and then it pops on, and it's like this huge moment that I feel like I shouldn't be seeing right now.
Apparently, I saw Kevin Feige is really upset that they've been showing so much.
I would be too, and I am upset.
I'm mad because I was like somewhere else on the internet, and I got a spoiler.
Yeah,
and it's like it's not big, but it's kind of big.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say anything about it.
You better not.
But it makes me upset that I didn't get to see it in the theater.
I agree. Like that's my.
I'll tell you what it is when we watch it.
Oh, does Ryan Reynolds get a Captain America shield and then? Anyways, that was a Free Guy reference, by the way.
He gets a Hawk hand.
I think that's all I got. Moon Knight's really good.
Yeah,
watch it if you have time. It's long, but that I think
it's
that
very long. I looked it up. I think it's 4.8 hours.
That's not too bad. That's 2 movies. We got 2 movies out of that.
We got 2 movies.
Okay. Well. Next week we got Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
We'll be doing spoilers near the end, I imagine. Same kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine there will be a lot to talk about. How
would you score Doctor Strange before we see it?
Let's
get our Disney checks first. We gotta cash them in.
I would give this probably a 99, if not 100.
Yeah. I give it a 4. He's a doctor, but he does hardly any medical procedures.
Anthony, Disney's listening. We can't.
Oh, it's 10.
Yeah, I love.
Did I say 4? I meant 14.
Yeah. Just absolutely phenomenal. Spend as much money as you can buying.
It's okay
tickets.
that he doesn't do that many medical procedures. He does one, and that's enough.
Technically, you're not supposed to, but if you can buy other tickets, if you're seeing it by yourself, buy tickets around you. Yeah. So just to make sure those seats are filled up.
The Hippocratic Oath is so present in this movie.
Spend more money on Disney.
Yeah.
We love capitalism here. Oh my gosh.
The House of Mouse.
House of Mouse. Well,
Doctor Strange more like Dr. Awesome.
Anyways, we're gonna cut that out. Join us next week. If you for updates, you can find us at
That's a Wrap NCR
on Instagram. So that was Moon Knight. Do you got anything else you want to say?
No. Until next time.
That's a wrap.